Well, we're honoring a local hero, a home test for COVID-19, states reopening, flu versus the coronavirus, and a special Earth Day anniversary. Joe Chiodo from KC TV5 News this morning is working from home and joining us now with a look at what is making news today. Now, Joe, good morning. The governor has mandated all of the flags to half staff today, and that's for one of our fallen EMTs here in Kansas City, right?
Yeah, good morning to you, Bill. Good morning to everyone at home as well. Hope your Wednesday is off to a good start. Of course, our thoughts and prayers are with the family of Billy Birmingham this morning. The governor, as you mentioned, ordering those flags to be flown at half staff. That'll be on all government buildings in Cass, Clay, Jackson, and Platte counties. It is in honor of him. He was an EMT with the Kansas City Fire Department who did pass away due to COVID-19. So that, of course, will be happening right now. We actually know that his funeral service is happening this morning, likely as we speak. He was an EMT for more than 20 years before he died. He was 69 years old. That procession is beginning at 11 a.m. today after the funeral service that I mentioned is happening right now, and that is because the funeral service is closed to the public. So again, we're thinking of him and his family today, and we thank him, of course, Bill, for all of his service over those 20 years, a long career.
Yeah, and we saw some of the video there of the flyover that one of the flight demonstrations teams did yesterday over the city. If you happened to look outside about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you were able to see them. So just a nice tribute to a great man and a good public servant here in our town.
Definitely.
Now, we've talked about, really trying to get good numbers on the COVID-19 outbreak is being able to do testing. And now there's kind of a new home testing kit that may be hitting the market soon.
Correct. So the more testing, the better in all aspects of this whole virus. That'll help us get ahead of it and help us learn more about it. So this is news this morning coming from the Food and Drug Administration, giving emergency authorization of the first at-home COVID-19 testing kit. So it's kind of giving us a glimpse into the future, because right now this is only available for doctors, nurses, those on the front lines. But this comes from life science company LabCorp. They are making this self-administered test, again, only for healthcare workers right now who are showing symptoms, but it could show us what we could possibly have coming into our homes in the future to get ahead of this virus. So here's how it works. It comes with everything you really need to collect a specimen, a nasal swab sample, and then you send it back to their lab and they tell you whether or not you're positive. You may have heard, and we've gotten a lot of feedback about this from people who have taken these tests, that the kind of gross here, so I apologize, but the swab, it goes pretty far back into your nose. Every person who's taken it has said it's pretty uncomfortable. LabCorp's version does not do that. It just goes to the tip of your nose, kind of around the nostrils, and takes the test from there. So good in the sense that we'll get more testing done. It's helping healthcare workers, and it seems to be a much more comfortable test than the other one.
Yesterday, Gene and I talked a little bit about some states reopening, but now there's a new relief package from the federal government. Can you talk through a little bit of that and more of the which states are starting to reopen? What are we seeing?
Yes, we'll get to those states in just a second, but you mentioned that relief package. Let's hit on that first. So the U.S. Senate approving a roughly $480 billion relief package with money for small businesses. You might remember the small businesses, especially those mom and pop shops. They ran out of money right when that first package came through. This money is also going to go to hospitals and testing. Lawmakers are aiming for it to be on the president's desk by the end of the week. And they are continuing to debate about how much more relief could be needed after this, because we know that this is a point of controversy for sure. There's people on one side and people on the other side. Doctors warning that this virus and the spread is far from over. But lawmakers, a lot of them are saying that we really need to be thinking of how much debt we are adding to our country. So with that being said, there are businesses that are starting to reopen. We can tell you Georgia, South Carolina are opening. So South Carolina, we know the stores and beaches are already open. In Georgia, businesses will open on Friday. Tennessee and Ohio will begin their restarts, as they're calling them, on May 1st.
Okay, well, let's moving on. I know early on in this, there was a whole bunch of comparison from the coronavirus versus the flu, but we've kind of surpassed a number that kind of renders that argument moot. What's that? So, Bill, this is really interesting, and kind of what caught my attention from this in the very beginning of this virus's spread is that a lot of people were comparing this to the flu, and doctors were getting a little angry saying, we're telling you it is not the flu. Here's the deal with it. They said they do understand why people
asked that and why they compared it to that, because it was the only type of coronavirus that we're really familiar with before this one. But what we're learning now is that the virus has already killed more people than the last complete flu season. So the proof is there now that it is more deadly than the flu. In the 2018-2019 season, the flu killed 34,000 Americans. More than 32,000 Americans have died from coronavirus so far, and they're expecting that number to go up day by day, as we've been seeing. So officials are worried that a second outbreak could happen in conjunction with the next flu season. That would make it even more difficult and even more of a dire health crisis here. So while there are shots available for the flu, the other concern is that, that doesn't exist yet for coronavirus. It likely won't for about 12 to 15 months now.
All right, and real quickly, today is the 50th anniversary of Earth Day. I know there's lots of events going on. Are you going to be planting trees or anything fun today, Joe?
My Earth Day celebrations are going to consist of probably going on a walk. I'll celebrate that way. I'll take my dog on a walk, maybe a run if I'm feeling ambitious. Speaking of everything we said, coronavirus, though, kind of a silver lining here. This has to be, if you've seen those maps online showing the amount of pollution, this has to be the cleanest Earth Day that we have had in probably decades, if not centuries. So, that is one way to look at it today whenever you are celebrating Earth Day. That, at least it's clean out there, cleaner than it has been.
That's right, finding those silver linings. So thank you, Joe. We appreciate it. We'll talk to you here soon. Belinda?